So this is our startup for week number 2. Number 1, it asks us to write the tangent ratios for angle P and for angle Q. Now remember, anytime that we are doing any type of trig, it is always good for us to go ahead and write SOHCAHTOA. That way we have it there and it's there for us to reference to. Now we're talking about the tangent ratio of angle P. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of P would equal the opposite over the adjacent. Now in reference to angle P, this is my opposite side, this is my adjacent side. But it asks for both the tangent ratio of angle P and angle Q. So therefore, since we're changing what angle, angle Q, my opposite side is here, my adjacent side is here for angle Q. So tangent of Q, or angle Q, equals 21 over 20. Just like we've discussed before, the tangent ratios of the different acute angles of the same triangle are reciprocals of each other. Number 2, it says find the value of x to the nearest degree. Here is angle x. Now in reference to angle x, I have my opposite and adjacent. Just in case, here is my hypotenuse. So since I don't need my h, using SOHCAHTOA, once again, we're going to be looking at tangent because that has the opposite and adjacent side. So I'm going to say tangent x equals opposite over adjacent. And since I'm looking for an angle, I am going to be finding or solving for the inverse function. So x would equal the inverse tangent of 19 over 11. So we'd punch that and plug that into our calculator. So x is equal to 60 degrees, since it's asking us to round to the nearest degree. Number 3 says find the value of x to the nearest degree. Find the value of x, round to the nearest tenth. Here is my angle, 28 degrees. Now in reference to, here are my parts, O, A, and H. I do not need the O. Remember, once again, going by SOHCAHTOA, I have A and H, so therefore it will be cosine. Cosine 28 degrees is equal to 11 over x, opposite over hypotenuse. Then we simply solve the equation. If x is on bottom, remember that we will divide. X will equal 11 divided by cosine 28. Putting that into our calculator, gives us 12.5, rounding to the nearest tenth. Number 4, still solving for x. Here's the angle that I am given. In reference to that angle, here are my parts. I do not need the A. If going by SOHCAHTOA, it will be sine, because we have O and H. Therefore, the sine of 35 degrees would equal 18 over x. Once again, if x is in the bottom, we're going to say 18 divided by sine 35. Plugging that into our calculator, we get 31.4. X, rounding to the nearest tenth. Number 5, find the value of x, round to the nearest degree. Once again, the angle I'm given, identify your parts. We do not need the a, so it's still sine. So sine of x equals 7 over 15. We are looking for the angle measure. So x equals the inverse. 7 divided by 15. So 7 divided by 15. Then we take the inverse sine of that. So x is approximately 28 degrees, rounding to the nearest degree. Number 6. It says to approach the runway, a small plane must begin a 9-degree descent. That 9-degree descent is evident here. Starting from a height of 1,125 feet above the ground to the nearest tenth of a mile, how many miles from the runway is the airplane at the start of its approach? And hint, there are 5,280 feet in a mile. Remember, this is like our angle of depression. So if I descend, I have my parallel line here and here, so therefore this angle is also 9 degrees. So using that, if this is my angle, I have opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. I do not need the adjacent. So, using SOHCAHTOA, this would be sine. 9 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. X equals 1125 over sine of 9 degrees. Now when we solve for x, it will be in feet. But the directions have asked us to put it in miles. So x equals 7,191.5 feet. But notice it says to the nearest tenth of a mile. And if there are 5,280 feet in a mile, we're going to divide 7,191.5 by 5,280. So we get approximately 1.4 miles. And all I did is take this number and divided it by 5,280 and rounded to the nearest tenth. So the airplane is approximately 1.4 miles from the runway when it begins its descent. And that is your startup for week number 2.